I'm back to Tell the Truth channel. Please like, share my content on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and what other content that y'all go on. I appreciate that very much. I am in Jesus and Jesus is in me. All right. My father gave me a channel message that he want me to speak on. And this message that he want me to speak on is what people be struggling with out there in the world and other people don't understand what people are struggling in their lives, what they're going through. So, you know how children's when they go to school and it be other children's that come to school and they have this odor on them, and then the kids start talking about the child, talking about the children, saying, I don't want to sit by him because he smell like this, because he smell like that. And then sometimes you hear the teachers, they know the teachers be hearing the kids talking about the children that's going through this. They be hearing it. Instead of the teachers telling the children to sit down and shut up and leave this child alone, instead of them telling them, you don't know what people are going through in their lives, so stop talking about people because you can end yourself up in that situation. That's what the teachers should tell the students when they sitting up there criticizing these kids that be going through things, because don't nobody know what nobody going through in their household. Don't nobody know. Don't nobody know. Because it could be children that's living in the household and their parents not even there with them. Not even there in the house, they're not even in the house with them. They in the house by themselves, raising themselves up because their parents are strung out on drugs and alcohol, that they leave their children's, and then their children's got to raise themselves up. So their children don't wanna not finish school. So they go to school smelling and all of that stuff because they don't have the money to get what they need to clean their bodies and stuff because their parents don't been there and left them. So they thinking that if they go to school, they're not gonna have to worry about nobody criticizing them for what they go through. But see, you got children that parents have not taught them to respect other children's and they self. You have parents out there have not taught their children this, to respect other people regardless of what other people go through. Parents should teach their children to respect people regardless of what they go through. You know. So back in our days, it was the teachers. They were hear the kids talking about how somebody smells and all that stuff, and then the teachers, I don't know if they would go to the principal and talk to the principal about it or whatever. I don't know. But I know that they will come to school, the teachers, with the with toothpaste, soap, and all that stuff, and give it to the whole class. Instead of just grabbing the child out the room and talking to them and asking them what's going on in the household. Why what's the problem? What's going on? And then maybe the child will sit there and tell the teacher what's the problem. Why they smell like that, by themselves, not around the whole classroom. Sit down and talk to them and tell them. They probably would tell them, well, my mother and father, they left us. We in the house by ourselves. We raising ourselves up. Then that would give the teachers the reason to call the state and have the state to come to the house and find out what's going on. Because sometimes these children don't want the state to know that they in the house by themselves, because some of these children don't want to be separated from their brothers and sisters. So they want to stay in the house and they try to do the best they can. So that's why you have some children that will go in the store and steal stuff to to wash themselves up and all of that and go to school and make the teachers them think that the parents are still in the house, but they not. They not. So sooner or later, the kids start acting a certain way with the children that's going through stuff, and then all of a sudden, the other children that's going through stuff get tired of living like that, and then one of them in the household would sit there and they would tell one of the students in the classroom why they going through what they going through, and then that student will go to the teacher and tell the teacher, and then the teacher will call that child up to the front desk or go outside and talk to the child, and then the child will tell the teacher what's going on, and then the person that's older in the house that's raising all these kids, because the parents done walked out and left them raising them by themselves, that child that's being there, that's playing the parent, didn't want them to know that, because they don't want them to be split up. But see, they got to understand that if you don't have another parent that would take y'all all in, then yeah, they're gonna split them up. So that's why they stay together, because they don't want to be split up. They want to stay together. But see, they got it like this, that if you have to be a certain age to raise up your brothers and sisters, you can't be what, 14, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18. No, they're not going to let you stay in the house when you that old, when you that age. But like when you get in like 19 or something like that, that's different. But when you them ages, no. They bring the state in, and the state split the kids up, and they don't want that. So that's why these kids sit there and tell the brothers and sisters not to talk about it. But see, other kids in the house get tired of it, so they talk about it, and then it pulled away. But the point is that these children in school think that, instead of their parents telling them that you can end up in the same situation that these other kids is in, you can end up in that. And they don't want to face that. They don't want to face that, because the parents should tell their children, you can end up like that. Because I know the kids come home and tell their parents that it be kids coming to school having a bad odor on them and all that stuff, and they be laughing at the kids and all that, instead of the parents telling them, you don't do that. You don't laugh at somebody that's going through a situation that they're going through, because you don't know what's going on in that child's house or in these children's house. You don't know why they act the way they do. You don't know that. So don't do that. So you don't have parents that do that. They let their kids just disrespect other kids instead of talking to them. And that's not right. That's not right. And that's what some of these kids do. That's why a lot of kids be sitting there, don't want to tell nobody what they go through, because they know if they do tell them, the state gonna come in and take them and pull them away. They're gonna pull them away. And then they don't want to tell the other kids, because if they tell the other kids, the kids gonna sit there and talk about them, laugh at them, talk about them. Oh, you ain't got your mama, but I got my mama. You ain't got your daddy, but I got my daddy. Ha 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 ha. You ain't got nobody. You in the house by yourself. How you gonna sit there and take care of yourself, and you ain't even got your mama and your daddy at the house with you? That's what children do. Yeah. That's what children do. And they don't understand that they be hurting other children's hearts when they do that. They don't understand that they be hurting other people when they do that. So the parents telling them, do you know you can hurt a child's heart by saying that to them? No, because parents don't have the time to sit down and explain things to their children, to respect people regardless of what they go through. Respect them. Because you don't know what people going through. If you want to know why the person smell like that, then pull them away and ask them, talk to them. And maybe they'll tell you why they going through what they going through. But it's up to y'all to do that. Instead of letting your children disrespect other kids, because children are very cruel. They don't care. They don't care what come out their mouth. They say whatever they want to say, and they don't care who they hurting. But when you teach your children to respect other people, your children's gonna know how to respect other people, because you teach them that. But if you don't teach them that, then they don't know how to do that. So this is what my father wanted me to speak on to y'all. Teach your children to respect people regardless of what they go through. Regardless. Because If somebody going through something and your children's coming home criticizing that, parents, go to the school and talk to the child yourself and ask the child what's going on. And maybe the child sit there will tell you what's going on, because the child that they talked to told you. So maybe you can change that child's life and help that child. That's what y'all should do. So this is what my Father wanted me to speak on. Thank y'all for listening to me. Jesus love you. Father love you. The Holy Ghost, the angels, the ancestors, and I love y'all. And I'll be back to talk to y'all again soon. Y'all have a good day and a blessed day.